Have you ever had that sinking feeling? The one where you're texting him first, waiting hours for a reply, or constantly wondering where you stand in his life? You're showing up, staying loyal, giving your energy, but something feels off. If you're questioning whether he truly values you, or if you're just someone he keeps around when it's convenient, you're not alone. Here's the truth most people won't say out loud. If a man sees you as just an option, he will never treat you like a priority. And while he may not say it directly, his actions are already telling you everything you need to know. In this video, I'm breaking down 4 brutally honest behaviors that reveal exactly when a man sees you as just one of many options, not someone he's genuinely investing in. This isn't about blame, it's about clarity, power, and truth. Because once you see these signs clearly, you'll never settle for being someone's maybe again. If you've ever found yourself overanalyzing mixed signals, making excuses for his behavior, or convincing yourself to just give it more time, this video will open your eyes in a way that's impossible to unseen. You deserve to be chosen, not tolerated. You deserve transparency, not confusion. And most of all, you deserve to stop guessing and start knowing. So stick with me, because the patterns we're about to uncover might just change the way you approach love forever. Let's dive in. Let's talk about inconsistency. Because it's not just frustrating, it's confusing, disorienting, and emotionally exhausting. One of the clearest signs that a man sees you as just an option is when his attention is wildly inconsistent. One day, he's texting you good morning, making you laugh, maybe even talking about the future. And the next, you're left staring at your phone, wondering if you did something wrong, or worse, if he's lost interest entirely. Here's what makes this behavior so damaging. It creates a cycle of emotional highs and lows. When he does show up, it feels amazing. You feel chosen, wanted, even hopeful. But when he pulls away without warning, without explanation, you're left questioning your worth. That emotional roller coaster, it's not connection, it's chaos. A man who is serious about you doesn't play hide and seek with his presence. He doesn't need you to chase, guess, or earn his attention. He shows up, consistently, intentionally, and without making you feel like you're begging for crumbs of connection. Inconsistency often hides behind excuses. He's busy, he's stressed, he's not good at texting. But let's be honest, if someone wants to be in your life, they find ways to stay present. A quick message, a check-in, a consistent rhythm that says, you matter. When someone gives you sporadic attention, what they're actually saying is, you're not a priority, but I like knowing you're there when I feel like reaching out. And here's the dangerous part. Some men know exactly what they're doing. They give you just enough affection to keep you hanging on, to keep the door open, but not enough consistency to create something real. It's a manipulation tactic, even if it's unconscious. If you find yourself constantly wondering where you stand, asking friends for advice, overthinking his every move, or convincing yourself he's just different, pause. Because a man who values you won't leave you confused. And he certainly won't make you question whether you're good enough to be treated with consistency. You deserve someone whose effort matches your energy, who doesn't make you feel like you're chasing love, who sees your time, presence, and heart as a gift, not a backup plan. So if you're seeing hot and cold behavior, know this, it's not your job to turn lukewarm effort into something meaningful. It's your job to recognize when someone is showing you, through their inconsistency, that they're not ready to give you what you truly deserve. Don't ignore the gaps. Don't romanticize the few good days and overlook the many empty ones. Consistency isn't too much to ask, it's the bare minimum. And if he's not offering it, the truth is, you were never his priority. You were only an option. The question is, are you okay with being one? When a man sees you as just an option, one of the most telling behaviors is his refusal to define the relationship. It's not always obvious at first. It can look like fun, freedom, or just going with the flow. But over time, this lack of clarity becomes emotionally draining. You start to realize that every conversation about where things are heading gets avoided, redirected, or shut down altogether. You might hear things like, let's not put labels on it, or I'm just not ready for anything serious right now. And while that might sound honest, the real question is, why is he okay receiving all the benefits of a relationship without committing to one? If he's consistently enjoying your time, your body, your energy, and even your emotional support, but pulls back the moment you ask for clarity, it's a sign. He's not building something with you. He's keeping you in a gray area because it serves him. The longer you stay unsure, the more control he has over how things unfold. Avoiding relationship talks is rarely about timing. It's often about intention. If a man genuinely cares about you and sees you in his future, he won't let you sit in uncertainty. He won't risk losing you over a simple conversation that could bring you peace of mind. But when he avoids defining the relationship, he's protecting his freedom, not your feelings. And here's where it gets even more complicated. He might still act like a boyfriend. He might hold your hand in public, introduce you to friends, sleep over, say sweet things, and yet still insist he's not ready for labels. That contradiction creates confusion and emotional attachment, making it harder for you to walk away. But love without commitment isn't love, it's convenience. You're not asking for too much when you ask for clarity. You're asking for emotional safety, for mutual understanding, for respect. A man who's truly into you won't make you guess whether you're the only one. He won't need months to figure things out while still reaping the benefits of being close to you. If you've been in a situationship where every attempt to talk about where this is going ends with vague answers or emotional deflection, it's time to recognize that silence is an answer. Indecision is a decision. And often men who avoid defining the relationship know exactly what they're doing. They're keeping their options open while making sure you don't explore yours. You deserve more than potential. You deserve more than let's see what happens. You deserve someone who is sure about you, clear with you, and ready for you. Don't waste your energy trying to turn a maybe into a yes. The right man won't hesitate to choose you, and he won't make you fight for clarity that should come naturally. If you're always the one reaching out, always the one making plans, always the one asking, when can I see you next? That's not effort, that's imbalance. And it's another major sign that a man sees you as just an option, not someone he's intentionally building something with. In the early stages of dating, it's natural for both people to feel things out, to navigate timing and availability. But over time, patterns reveal priorities. And if the pattern is always you putting in the effort to connect, while he simply responds or worse, gives vague excuses, you're doing all the work to hold something together that he's barely contributing to. You might find yourself texting first, suggesting dates, rearranging your schedule to accommodate his, waiting for him to confirm or cancel last minute. And every time you do it, you convince yourself, at least we're spending time together. But here's the truth. If someone wanted to see you, they would make it happen. No confusion, no hesitation. No one is too busy to make room for someone they value. This kind of one-sided effort wears you down slowly. It creates a dynamic where your worth starts to feel tied to how much you can make things happen. You become the planner, the pursuer, the one holding the emotional weight, while he simply shows up when it suits him. And here's the part that stings. Sometimes he'll make just enough effort to keep your hopes alive. He might finally ask you out after you've pulled back, or show up with affection just when you're thinking of walking away. But that's not consistency, that's control. And it keeps you in a loop where you're always questioning if you're doing too much or just enough to keep him interested. Real connection is mutual. It flows both ways. It's not just about who responds, but who initiates. When a man sees you as a priority, he doesn't wait for you to ask. He thinks about when he'll see you next, and he makes it happen, not because he's obligated, but because he wants to. If you're noticing that you're the engine of the relationship, the one making all the moves, it's time to pause. Ask yourself, if I stopped trying, would this connection even exist? Relationships shouldn't feel like a job interview where you're constantly proving your value. They should feel like a partnership, equal, intentional, and balanced. You deserve someone who matches your energy, your effort, and your desire to create real moments together. Don't settle for being the one who always tries. When someone wants you in their life, they won't let you carry the connection alone. They'll meet you halfway, without needing to be asked. Let's get real about something that far too many people confuse for effort. The bare minimum. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking, well, at least he's texting me, or he liked my photo, or he said he misses me. But these little crumbs, that's not real investment. That's the bare minimum. And it's not enough, Bare minimum effort shows up in a lot of subtle ways. He texts you just enough to keep you on the hook, but never with depth or consistency. He makes last-minute plans instead of actually scheduling quality time in advance. He gives compliments but rarely takes the time to get to know you on a deeper level. He might even say, "I really like you," but there's no follow-through, no real action behind the words. This kind of behavior feels confusing because it mimics interest. And sometimes, after dealing with neglect, toxicity, or emotional detachment, even the smallest gesture can feel like progress. But don't mistake presence for effort. Just because someone's around doesn't mean they're showing up for you emotionally, mentally, or intentionally. One of the biggest red flags is when his actions always feel reactive. He'll respond if you reach out. He'll agree if you plan something. He'll talk if you initiate. But he never goes out of his way. He's coasting. He's doing just enough to keep your hope alive, but not enough to build anything real. And here's where it becomes emotionally dangerous. Bare minimum effort is designed to keep you questioning. You start wondering if you're asking for too much. You justify the lack of depth because at least he's not ghosting, or at least he checks in sometimes. But relationships aren't built on at least. They're built on mutual energy, respect, and forward momentum. A man who's genuinely interested will not rely on the bare minimum. He will want to deepen the connection. He'll initiate, follow through, communicate clearly, and make space for you in his life. He won't leave you wondering what you mean to him or where things stand, because when someone truly values you, they make it obvious. If you find yourself constantly interpreting mixed signals, getting excited over the smallest gestures, or feeling like you need to earn consistency, stop and take a breath. That's not love, that's survival mode. The bare minimum might feel better than being ignored, but it's not the same as being cherished. And if he's only giving you scraps, it's not your job to turn them into a meal. It's your job to walk away and make space for someone who brings the full course without being asked. So ask yourself, are you being loved, or are you just being tolerated? Because you are not too much. You are not asking for too much. You're just dealing with someone who's giving far too little and calling it effort. One of the most painful and revealing signs that you're just an option to a man is when you consistently find yourself at the bottom of his priority list. He says he cares. He might even say you're important to him. But when it comes to actions, where he shows up, what he chooses, how he spends his time, you're always second, third, maybe even last. He's always available for his friends, his hobbies, his job, his family, but somehow when it's time to show up for you, there's always a reason he can't. He's too busy. He's tired. Something came up. And even though you try to be understanding, that quiet disappointment in your chest keeps growing. Because deep down you know the truth. If someone truly values you, they make time. They don't just squeeze you in when it's convenient. Being in someone's life shouldn't feel like you're constantly trying to prove your worth to get a piece of their time. If you find yourself feeling like you have to earn your way into his schedule, while he freely gives his energy to everyone else, you're not being prioritized. You're being managed. And here's the hard part. He might be great at justifying it. He might say, you know, I've got a lot going on, or I just need to focus on work right now, or even guilt trip you for not being patient. But if he has time for late night parties, constant group chats, weekend getaways, or helping everyone else with their problems, then let's be honest, he has time for you. He's just choosing not to give it. A man who truly sees you as part of his future doesn't compartmentalize you. He doesn't push you to the side and expect you to just wait there until his schedule opens up. He makes room for you, intentionally, consistently, and without making you feel like an inconvenience. And it's not just about how often he sees you, it's about how present he is when he's with you. Because even when he's physically there, if his mind and priorities are somewhere else, the emotional gap only grows wider. That's when you feel alone, even when you're together. When a man consistently puts everyone else first, he's showing you exactly where you fall in his life. And the longer you tolerate it, the more you reinforce the idea that it's okay to treat you like an afterthought. You deserve someone who shows up for you, not just when it's easy, but when it matters. Someone who rearranges, not just expects you to adapt. Someone who chooses you, not when he's done choosing everything else. You are not a backup plan. You are not a placeholder. You are not someone who should feel lucky to be squeezed into the margins of someone else's life. The right man won't make you fight for a spot. He'll give you one freely and protect it. Let's be honest. Sometimes the hardest truth to face isn't that he's not treating you right, but that you're allowing it. And that hurts. Not because you're weak or naive, but because somewhere along the line, you were conditioned to believe that love is something you have to earn. That attention is a privilege. That being chosen requires you to shrink, to settle, to wait patiently on the sidelines until someone finally sees your worth. But here's the truth. When you accept less than you deserve, it's rarely about the other person. It's about what you've come to believe about yourself. Maybe you grew up in an environment where emotional neglect was normalized. Maybe you've had partners in the past who gave you breadcrumbs and called it love. Maybe you've been told you're too emotional or too much. So now you keep quiet when something doesn't feel right. You tell yourself to be understanding, to not rock the boat, to not seem needy. You give more chances than you should. You rationalize red flags. You focus on potential instead of patterns. And deep down, you hope that if you love hard enough, stay loyal long enough, and remain patient long enough, he'll finally see you, choose you, prioritize you. But that's not how healthy love works. You're not here to convince someone of your value. You're not here to keep proving that you're worth time, consistency, effort, or clarity. The right person will never make you beg for the bare minimum. And yet we stay because we confuse comfort with connection. We confuse attachment with intimacy. We confuse effort with love, even when that effort is one-sided. And here's something you need to hear. Your capacity to care deeply is not the problem. Your heart is not too big. Your standards are not too high. What needs to shift isn't your desire for love. It's your belief about what you're worthy of receiving. You keep accepting less because somewhere inside there's a voice telling you that this is as good as it gets. That maybe you're lucky to have anything at all. But that voice, it's lying. It was built from old pain, not truth. And the moment you decide to stop negotiating your worth, everything starts to change. You are allowed to want more. You are allowed to walk away from almost good enough. You are allowed to stop explaining why your needs matter. Love should not leave you feeling small, anxious, or invisible. Love should meet you where you are and rise with you. So ask yourself, are you staying because you're happy, or because you're afraid to start over? Are you accepting less because you truly believe this is love, or because you've forgotten what real love even looks like? You deserve more. But first you have to believe that you do. At some point, you have to decide that your peace is more valuable than someone else's potential. You have to stop waiting for clarity from someone who keeps you in confusion. You have to stop giving second, third, and 10th chances to someone who keeps showing you again and again that you are not their priority. It hurts. It's not easy to walk away from something your heart is still attached to. It's not easy to let go of the almosts, the memories, the imagined future. But what hurts more, far more, is staying in something that slowly erodes your self-worth. Staying in something that makes you question whether you're lovable, worthy, or enough. You are enough. You always have been. The most powerful shift you can make is deciding that you no longer wait to be chosen. You choose yourself. You don't chase clarity, you create boundaries. You don't try to prove your worth, you embody it. Because once you see clearly that someone only ever gave you the bare minimum, the emotional scraps, the half effort, you begin to understand you were never asking for too much. You were just asking the wrong person. Reclaiming your power means no longer mistaking consistency for clinginess. It means knowing the difference between real connection and emotional convenience. It means listening to your gut when it tells you something's off, even when your heart wants to believe otherwise. You reclaim your power every time you stop replying to a breadcrumb. Every time you delete a number you've been waiting on. Every time you choose silence over begging, distance over desperation, healing over hoping. That's power. Not loud, not flashy, quiet, sacred, steady. You don't need someone to validate your worth. You need to protect your energy like it's sacred, because it is. Not everyone deserves access to you. Not everyone deserves to hear your thoughts, feel your touch, or receive your love. That's not arrogance. That's knowing who the hell you are. When a man sees you as just an option, he will do the bare minimum. He will give just enough to keep you close, but never enough to build something real. And when you finally see it for what it is, not love, not partnership, not respect, you stop settling. You stop shrinking. You stop waiting. You rise. You learn to walk away without closure because you become your own closure. You learn to let go of potential because peace is more valuable. You learn to trust yourself, your voice, your feelings, your inner knowing. Because the truth is, you knew all along, you just didn't want to believe it. But now you do, and now you don't go back. You go forward with more strength, more clarity, and more self-worth than ever before. This is how you reclaim your power. Let's quickly recap what we've uncovered today. If a man sees you as just an option, he will show it in ways you might have overlooked or excused. From inconsistent attention, avoiding defining the relationship, always leaving you to initiate plans, to prioritizing everyone else before you. These behaviors aren't random or harmless. They're clear signals that you're not his priority, and it's time to face that truth. We also talked about the danger of accepting the bare minimum, and why so many of us keep settling for less than we deserve. It's not because we don't know our worth, but often because we're afraid of being alone, afraid of starting over, or simply caught in old patterns that keep us stuck. So what do you do next? First, take a moment to reflect honestly on your current relationship or situation. Are you seeing these signs? If yes, acknowledge them without guilt or denial. Awareness is the first step toward change. Next, set clear boundaries. Boundaries aren't about punishment. They're about protecting your emotional energy and demanding respect. If he's not willing to meet you halfway, it's okay to step back and prioritize yourself. Remember, you don't have to wait for him to change or prove himself. Your value doesn't depend on his willingness to show up. You are enough exactly as you are. Surround yourself with people who uplift and support you. Seek friendships and communities that remind you of your worth. Sometimes, healing and growth happen best when you're supported by those who truly see you. Finally, be patient with yourself. Reclaiming your power isn't an overnight process. It's a journey of self-love, learning to trust your instincts, and building a life where you're chosen, not just tolerated. If this video resonated with you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear this. Your story matters, and your healing is worth the effort. You're stronger than you think, and you deserve someone who sees that clearly.